Welcome to Dynasty Debrief. Today, we're going to give you our top 8 rookie wide receivers, along with some honorable mentions at the end. Now, with this top 8, we're very confident will be decent producers at the NFL level. Some of them could be elite producers. And then some honorable mentions could crack into that, good producers in terms of dynasty value and whatnot. So to start off, we have Marvin Harrison at the 1 spot. Marv is generational prospect. We talked about him so many times now. He's just on a different level. The best prospect since at least Jamar Chase, maybe even better than Jamar Chase as a prospect. Just elite producer. He's young. He's going to be good. He's going to go top 5 overall in the draft minimum. Can't say much more about Marvin Harrison. Dak, who got second. Hey guys, real quick, make sure to subscribe and like the video. We're trying to reach 100 subscribers, and when we do, we'll be giving away a free roster review. Now, back to the video.
So number 2, another guy there isn't too much to say at this point. We've already said it all, is Malik Neighbors. He didn't test the combine. He didn't have to test at the combine. This film speaks for itself. He broke out his sophomore year at age 19. Really produced well again this season. Like Dalton said, with Harrison, Malik Neighbors is also going to have that really high draft capital, top 10 at worst, but probably top 6. And yeah, there's not much more to say about Neighbors. If Marvin Harrison wasn't in this class, Malik Neighbors would be the wide receiver 1. He'd probably be wide receiver 1 in most draft classes. So we like Neighbors a lot, and we're going to have him at 2 in these rankings. So Jeff, 3?
Yeah, I'm going to take Rome Odunze, wide receiver from Washington. He tested last week at the combine, 4.45 40-yard dash, which is pretty good speed. Nothing too crazy, but good speed for a receiver. He's 21 years old. He had an early breakout. He was really good this past season at Washington with Michael Penix. Great route runner, versatile, good yards per route run. Just a really good receiver. Will most likely get top 10 draft capital in this upcoming NFL draft. So I got Rome Odunze at my 3rd receiver. Dalton, who do you got at number 4?
At number 4, we have Brian Thomas. We think there's a little bit of a tier break here between Odunze and Brian Thomas, but Brian Thomas is still a very good wide receiver. We're thinking mid to late first-round draft capital could go to a very exciting team like the Bills. Brian Thomas had a really, really, really great junior year where he scored 17 touchdowns, had over 1,100 yards. He was also competing with the Malik Neighbors for targets, and put up those numbers. That's pretty crazy in itself. We just saw last week at the combine that he ran a 4.34. At his size and weight, that is incredible. He had a faster 10-yard split than Xavier Worthy. That says a ton. He's just an absolute beast. He's super exciting. What was the last thing I was going to say? Or is that everything? So, yeah, Brian Thomas Jr., very exciting player. Going on number 5, Dak, who we got there?
So, like Dalton mentioned, there's a tier break from Odunze to Brian Thomas, and then there's another tier break, and I think we all are in consensus that 5 through 8, you can probably group them any way you would like. We're going to have Ladd McConkey as our 5th best receiver, which might be a hot take for some. But we really like McConkey's athleticism. He had a great combine. He tested at the 40-yard dash, 4.39 speed, which is really good. 6 foot, 185 pounds, so not necessarily worried about the size. And then you look at his film, and he can win on the outside. He can win on the inside. He's really versatile, and teams are going to like that. They're going to like his yak ability. He didn't have, the craziest stats in college. His final year had back and ankle injuries, so he was only limited to 30 catches, less than 500 yards. 2022, he had like about 55 catches, 700 yards. So, not anything crazy, but not too bad either. We really like McConkey's upside. He could really, especially if he goes to like a Chiefs, a Bills, a great landing spot, he could be going towards the tail end of the first round. Really like Madden McConkey, and we're going to have him at 5 here. Jeff, who do you got at 6?
At number 6, I got the combine's biggest breakout was Xavier Worthy with his 4.21 40-yard dash. A true freshman breakout, had over 900 yards in his freshman year, kept those numbers up, broke 1,000 yards during his junior year, then declared for the draft, an early declare, which a lot of people like to see in a prospect. With his 40-yard dash time, he most likely will get mid to late first-round draft capital. It would take a lot for him to back out of that first round. With that, I have him at number 6 in our rookie wide receiver rankings. Dalton, who you have up next?
So at number 7, we have Troy Franklin, wide receiver out of Oregon. Had a pretty good sophomore and a really strong junior year when you look at his just yards and touchdowns per game, average over 100 yards per game. He's a little undersized, being only 170-some pounds, but we've seen wide receivers at that size and weight compete at the NFL level nowadays with players like Devontae Smith, and they've been just fine. So we don't think that's a huge knock on him. He did run a little bit slow for his weight. We would have liked to see him in the 4.3s. He ran a 4.41, which is not terrible, but it's not good just for what we expected. We could see Troy Franklin going anywhere from the late first to early second round, so we're going to expect some decent draft capital out of him. He's also only one of 3 early declared wide receivers to post 3 yards per route run, putting him in the same category as Neighbors and Marv. Pretty good company, if you ask me. So, moving on to number 8, Dak, who we got there?
So I'm going to have Adonai Mitchell from Texas at number 8. And he's a guy, kind of opposed to Troy Franklin, had a really good combine and really helped out his draft stock a lot. He ran a 4.35 40, which at his size, 6'2", 205, like that's incredible. He was also first among all receivers in the broad jump and then had a really good vertical jump as well. So that kind of speaks to athleticism and jumping ability, all that good stuff. Mitchell wasn't the best producer in college. His yards per team pass attempt isn't the best. His yards per out and run isn't the best. But I think a lot of that can be explained, due to the fact that he's playing with Xavier Worthy. He was playing next to Jatavion Sanders. And then when he was at Georgia, he's playing next to Brock Bowers. He's playing next to McConkey. Georgia didn't like to throw the ball a ton there. They liked to run the ball when Mitchell was there. But he always seemed to show up in the biggest moments. He had touchdowns against Alabama in the national championship, had 2 touchdowns against Washington this past college football playoff. And another thing that I really like about Mitchell, he only had 1 drop his final year in college off of like 85, 86 targets, which is just insane. And then when you watch his film, he definitely has natural, strong hands, which I think is going to really translate well to NFL. I like guys that can catch the ball really well. So that's definitely going to translate at the next level. Like the talent with Mitchell, you really can't go wrong. Like I said, in this 5 to 8 range, there's a lot of good receivers. So Jeff, did you want to talk about a couple honorable mentions we didn't talk about here?
Yeah, a couple guys that do have the potential to break into like a top 8, like we just did, with good draft capital. One includes Roman Wilson, wide receiver for Michigan, a little undersized, but always found a way to get open. Was like J.J. McCarthy, safety blanket. He can be a good option depending on draft capital. Javon Baker, good prospect out of UCF. Malachi Corley, Western Kentucky. Keon Coleman's another guy. Did not test well at the combine, but people still grade him to be a early to mid second round prospect. So he's another one that if despite the slow 40-yard dash at the combine, he could be someone that plays well and throws those testing numbers away. So those are a couple of guys that we see can get into this top 8 tier, but it'll take good draft capital, a lot of things to go their way.
Yeah, so thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.